Sometimes I have trouble just getting on Zoom just to get on Zoom. Forget about trying to set it up for a bunch of people connected to sound. You got the video, you got the Microsoft Word, you got the YouTube, you got the this. And then that's just in here, not to mention the rest of the property and everything that's going on. And so in a lot of ways, anybody could just stand here and crack jokes all day and tell you very obvious truths that you are divine, but to keep the production rolling is truly a labor of love, man. I just had to acknowledge that for sure. And thank you, Willie, for sharing those readings. Let me touch on them briefly and then share a few thoughts. So last week was resurrection, right? We were looking at a passage in Acts chapter 26 that said, why should anyone consider it incredible that God raises the dead, right? And we were talking about how resurrection is not just a day, it's not just a moment, but it's a change, and it's a new you. It's not just a day and like, oh, well, resurrection was last week, resurrection's over, back to normal. But no, you are resurrected, and to continue on that path. And in line with that, today are these scriptures. So, from a Bible perspective, this takes place, if there's a story and teachings go, Jesus was crucified on a Friday and resurrected on a Sunday. This was probably, this passage that Willie read from John chapter 20, and I'm going to read, is on Sunday evening. And in this, they didn't know that there had been a resurrection. They saw a crucifixion. All right. And they were actually hiding because, they caught Jesus, arrested him, and crucified him. And he had the juice. What hope is there for the rest of us if they get him? They got him. So John chapter 20, verses 19 and 20 say, on the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jewish leaders, Jesus came and stood among them and said, peace be with you. After he said this, he showed them his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. And the other passage comes from a woman named Gabby Kovalenko, and it's very fascinating that happens to be 23 years old, the person who, this quote that I'm about to read, and she's online, and I think she's written books, but has an amazing understanding of the possibilities that you also have an understanding of. But at 23, it's pretty impressive, and she is really a leader. And so she said, quantum jumping is the art of manifesting change. Change so drastic that if you were to look into the past condition, you would not even think that that change was possible. Because quantum jumping implies that non-linear progression is possible, and that you can look at any past state of being and completely transcend it. Right? And so I'll give you the cheat code. So if sometimes, you maybe go to lunch or you go somewhere after church and they say, Well, what did he preach about? And a lot of times people say, I don't really remember, but it was good though. But I'm gonna give it to you in just, or sometimes they don't say it was good, they just say, I don't remember. But let me give it to you in one sentence. Basically, what did he preach about? There's no inherent connection between your past and your future. There's no linear, logical, necessary connection between your past and your future. Okay? So, tell them that's what he preached about. I could almost just sit down right now. Almost. Yeah. All right. But think about it though. Have you ever been in pain? I've dealt, different times in my life. A few years back, had a toothache, lasted a couple weeks till was able to go get it taken care of. But what would happen was, it was all right during the day, especially if I stayed hydrated, but it bothered me a lot at night. And I got to this point where it bothered me every night. So then as the day would progress, I would time taking the pain pill, and I had it down to a science. Okay, I take the pill at 8:30, then it kicks in. Then when I go to sleep, I don't feel the pain, but I got to take it at 8:30, and I had all this. I had it down to a science. Why? Because, and then when someone said, well, why are you taking that pill? I said, because my tooth is going to really give me a hard time tonight. It bothers me every night. It feels great during the day, but it really starts hurting every night at 11 o'clock. So I got to take the pill at 8:30 because it's going to start hurting tonight. It's going to be really bad. Do you hear that? That now on a on a traditional considered view of what we call reality level, that's wise. I got it figured out. I know what I have to do to have, if not healing, at least a bit of a cure, a bit of relief. But what I'm really doing, and this is one of the tough points, right? Is it that I was wise to say, let me take the pill now because it's going to hurt tonight? Or does it hurt because I am so subconsciously, thoroughly convinced that it hurts at night? There you go. And if I have told myself that, then I'm thinking I'm only telling myself that because that's what happened. But maybe that's what happened because I told myself. Now, of course, it's not as easy as, well, just tell myself I got $40 million, tell myself everything's fine, tell myself, right? I know you tried that at least once or twice, and it didn't, you did. I know. Me too. Or you ever had a friend and you got some news, but I know this friend isn't going to take this news well. I know, and we say, okay, and then the other friends say, okay, we can't tell him this tonight. Why not? Because he's going to flip out and get upset and take it the wrong way. We already know that, right? How do we know that that's what he's going to do? Because that's how he always does. How did I know my tooth is going to start hurting at 11:30? Because that's what it always does. And we think, erroneously, that because the past happened this way, that the future must therefore happen this way. And on a logical level, on an earth level, there's some rhyme and reason to that. But the fact of the matter is, the past does not dictate the future, because there are plenty of examples in time too. I mean, if you look at life, you look at investing, what do they tell you? They sell it to you and they say, hey, you invest in this stock, it's been going like this the last 5 years. And then you say, okay, well, where do I sign up? And then right as soon as they take your money, they say, past performance does not necessarily indicate future results. Same with sports betting. I'm not a gambler, but